Well, good evening, Fastball fans, and welcome back to John Miller Field. We are starting about 30 minutes early, which is a rarity here in the ISC World Tournament, but we've got a lot of games still to get through this evening. This is going to be the nightcap for us on the ISC network, our fourth game of the day, but there are going to be some games going on all the way up to and including a scheduled midnight start, as we've got some weather coming in tomorrow. We pulled forward 7 games from the Monday schedule to try and get some partial play done this evening. Out on the field, it's the Fargo-KENGEL Black Knights. Defensively for the Black Knights, you see the board there. Preston Sherman, Mark Dries, and Dustin Houts. Left to right around the outfield, on the infield around the horn, Dan Mitchell, Dante Biagini, Zach Shaw, Jeff Lewis. It's Josh Pettit starting for the Knights, and he'll be pitching to Mike Hoadley, who has made a comeback and this season with the Fargo-KENGEL Black Knights. The batting order for the Rio Grande Senators from Midland, Texas. Leading things off for the Senators is Ryan Old out of Alberta. Will Sandifer bats in the 2 spot. Peyton Hall 3. Andrew Kutnikoff hits 4. Travis Havens hits 5th. The 6th spot is Brady Parker. In the 7 holes, Matthew Kutnikoff. Batting 8, Matt Thornton. And 9 is the catcher, Darren Coster. Josh Pettit from Wellington, New Zealand. Hard-throwing, big, tall right-hander. And he's somebody that our special guest is very familiar with. We're joined right now by one of the newest members of the ISC Hall of Fame, Dr. Bob Nidick. And Bob, welcome to the ISC Network and welcome to the ISC Hall of Fame. How does that sound to you?
Wow, it's humbling and very impressive to be included with a group of people like that. So Blair, and it's been an honor to know you and really everyone else affiliated with ISC. It's a great sport and a great organization.
You've spent so much time in this sport. I want to take you through a couple of stories that you told this morning and a couple of things that I've learned about you. Your very first national was a Class C event, and you talked this morning about how maybe it didn't go so well for you guys.
To say it didn't go well is an understatement. We got double no hit. So, as I said this morning, you can't start any lower and end up with some success is what happened with us. But it was a good experience and good growing, and that's what teams do.
And look what it turned into. You're known as the team builder. How did that come about?
I guess I had some ability to play the game when I was younger, but the subtle parts of the game always intrigued me. I didn't have as much natural ability as a lot of as most of the other guys, but it's easy to go out and just assemble a team, but when you put together the right chemistry, that's what and the right fit and the right personalities. That's what always appealed to me, and I was fortunate enough to learn from one of the greats, Denny Bruckert, and he was my original mentor at this level, and we all miss and love Denny, and then I got invited into the Gremlin family, and that's just two great organizations. We should probably be calling some of this game, though, right, Blair?
Well, we had a ground out to start the game, and then we had a called strike 3 there on Will Sandifer. We got Peyton Hall to the dish, and Peyton Hall, good American player from the Midwest, played with the Topeka Toros several years back, and he and Matt Thornton have made the migration down to Texas. You told a couple of great stories this morning. I don't know that you want to repeat all of them, but there was a real good one, and we just chuckled about it downstairs too. But your introduction to Blair Ezekiel.
Well, we signed him. I don't know. He was probably 22, 23 years old. We signed him, and then this was probably in February or March, and Denny gave me his cell number and said, why don't you call him and introduce yourself and welcome him to the team? And so I called, and he didn't answer, and left a message. And the message said Blair Ezekiel. And so I left a message and asked him to call back. But then I called Denny right away, and I said, Denny, I called, but Blair pronounces his name wrong. It's Ezekiel on his cell phone. And then he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, he pronounces his name wrong. His name's Ezekiel. And then he goes, well, Bob, I think the boy knows how to pronounce his name.
Denny Ever, the street
yeah.
man.
And I said, well, Denny, he's pronouncing it wrong. And Blair was in the room, and he and I had a good chuckle. But that's an absolutely true story.
Oh, that's a great one. Can you tell us about playing, getting in with the Gremlins? You bring your son along as part of the team management group, and you guys have won a couple of titles. I thought you had a real touching story this morning about how much that championship, the first one, meant, and Greg being a part of it.
Well, the truth is, and I didn't say this part this morning, but when you win, an ISC, and it's the hardest tournament to win, and it's just an amazing experience. But when you win something like that, it just means so much. But especially, as you pointed out, starting out with double no hit. So do we need to take a break here?
No, we're gonna stay with Dr. Bob Neidick.
Yeah, this is all new. So
we're gonna stay with Dr. Bob Neidick. We're chatting with him, and recognized this morning with the Bob Welby Recognition of Service Award going into the ISC Hall of Fame. But you're talking about that first championship, with your son Greg.
It was 2008, and we came back and were fortunate enough to win. We were losing 3-0 late, and we scored 6 late runs and won that game. The part that was, and as you said, I've shared this game with Greg, and it means a lot. We hugged on the field, and it was the first time he told me later. He said that was the first time I ever saw you cry. But then that's just a true story. I was so overcome with emotion, and to be on the same field with him sharing that was just something very special.
And I find when we hear so many of the Hall of Fame speeches over the years, the guys talk about their teammates, they talk about the friendships that they've made that last a lifetime, but also the importance of family, because it is such a family-oriented game, and you guys have got that in spades with the Gremlins.
Well, it really is. I mean, if you look, a lot of the wives are in town for this tournament, and Greg Leather has just done a tremendous job. Again, getting the right people, and making sure that the culture, the person that you recruit fits the culture of the team. And that is so important, and we really are family. I mean, you live with these people, especially guys coming in from New Zealand and Australia and Argentina and Mexico and all over. You're living together for the better part of 3 months.
It does take that special bond, as we see for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Zach Shaw will be leading things off. He'll be followed by Dustin Houts and Mike Lewis. And it's not just the team. Of course, it's the team, but it's also the community around it. And I find that over the years, the softball community and this men's Fastpitch community in particular has really gotten closer together.
Well, there's a lot of mutual respect. And, when you're competing at the world level, the quality of the players is quite impressive. And they're most of the guys that you meet, that you compete against, they're even better people off the field, and it is very special. It's obviously a special part of my life for a long time.
You told a story this morning, and I didn't know this. You've got a U.S. national championship, a Canadian championship, and an ISC championship. How did you manage that?
Well, I was coaching and sponsoring our 08 and 09 teams with Denny Bruckert and Dave Bailey, Bags, and we went to Canadians, and we were fortunate enough to win 2 Canadians, and I don't know, you would know this better. I was told, I mean, you have to be a Canadian citizen obviously to play.
Yeah.
but it was maybe a sort of a loophole to coach, and so I was part of that. So
that's a fantastic little bit of trivia. I think you're in a very select club there.
I would think.
Yeah.
I would think.
Oh, that's great stuff. That's
Steve Mullally probably has. I think he's got about 20-some rings, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he has me beat on all those.
Right. Yeah, that you told a Mullally story today too. The Quaker River Sharks were quite the cast of characters.
Well, the funny part, I told that story, and I thought I had it right, and literally, you asked me to come in here to the booth here, and I walked past Lee Jacques.
Yes.
He's sitting down
Yeah,
there, and I
that's
hadn't
right.
seen
Yeah.
Lee in years, and I did confirm about 15 minutes ago that the story I told was true. We were playing an early tournament. Steve Mullally was probably, 21, 22 years old. He went out and got had a little too much to drink.
A little over refreshed.
Yeah, over refreshed. I like that. And so he was in no condition to play on Sunday morning. And again, Denny Bruckert. A lot of these stories go back to Denny. And Denny was not happy with Lolly, and he said, "We're going to sit him." And Lee Jacques says, "Well, I have another idea, Denny. He's in no condition to play. Why don't we put him out in left field and teach him a lesson?" And we did. We put him out there, and he hit 2 home runs to win the game. So,
So who taught who?
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Always the stories. Bob Neidick joining us here. Bob, the last one I want to get you to tell involved the birth of your son.
This one I'm not real proud of, and I was shocked when Greg actually told that story. He presented me this morning at the Hall of Fame. It just, for the people that don't understand the game or don't know our game, this story I think explains sort of what we do and why we do it. And Greg his birthday is August 6th, and I had I was playing locally at the time, and we had a playoff game, and my wife goes into labor, and I said to the doctor, I pulled the doctor aside, and I said, if I ask my wife to leave and go play this playoff game, she's going to...
You might as well just keep going.
Yeah, not be happy. I said, but if you tell her that nothing's going to happen for a while, and it's probably okay for you to leave and go play the game, and you'll be back in plenty of time. And he looked at me like I had 9 heads and said, are you serious? And I was, but it in retrospect, it probably wasn't a good idea. But unfortunately, it is a true story. I did ask to leave when my wife was in labor. Greg was born at 10 o'clock at night. I would have been fine.
You were back.
I would have been back, but I did not go to the game.
It's all about the stories, and it's all about the people in the game. Bob Neidick, one of the great people in the game, and I didn't ask you to tell that story to be embarrassing or anything like that,
No.
but I asked you to tell that story because to me that was emblematic of your devotion to this game, and it's people like you that keep this game going, especially at the top level where we are at the ISC. And on behalf of the ISC, thank you for everything that you're doing for the Gremlins, for the game, and congratulations again on becoming a member of the ISC Hall of Fame.
Blair, thank you. It means a lot. It's been great getting to know people like you and getting to know you, and thank you for everything you do for this great sport.
Well, it's our pleasure to be a part of it. We are a small member of the fraternity, and I thank you for joining us here today. I'll let you go enjoy the Gremlins' victory, and we'll see you back out here whenever weather permits the Gremlins to get back out here as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Blair.
All right, thanks,
You're
Bob.
the best. Thank you.
All the best. Thank
Yep.
you. At the plate for Fargo, fouls this one off. And what a great conversation with Dr. Bob Neidick and everything that he's done, and some great stories that he told. And there are a couple more that when we get the video up on the website and on the social media for the Hall of Fame breakfast and ceremonies this morning, you'll hear a couple more stories that Dr. Bob told, and quite happy with his appearance, that he's able to join us. So good stuff there. Another good story is the young man out on the mound for the Rio Grande Senators, Nick Need, who is just turned 18 years old, from Terrace, British Columbia. And I know there's a number of people in Terrace who are tuned in to watch Nick Need pitch this game for the Rio Grande Senators. They were winners of the Seattle Fife Invitational Tournament about, I want to say, 3-4 weeks ago, and the top pitcher in the tournament was 18-year-old Nick Need. This one right back up the middle by Jeff Lewis. So there's a couple of Lewises aboard after a pair of outs by Zach Shaw and Dustin Houts. Mike Lewis the walk, and now Jeff Lewis aboard with the single. That'll bring up Dan Mitchell. Dan from Kitchener, Ontario area, was a member of that championship Twins team a year ago. And rather than going over to the Stompers, he made the move over to the KENGEL Black Knights. And we're going to get a visit out to the mound real quick. Catcher Darren Coster and Nick Need want to get on the same page. Mitchell, left-handed batter. Got some pop, but mostly line drive hitter, gap to gap. And we'll get Joe Todd back in here in a moment. He's just making some notes on the umpires. As Need, good rise ball. Mitchell chases upstairs. I was talking with Rich Haldane in between games, and Rich, the pitching veteran in British Columbia, has done some work with young Nick Need on form and technique and everything else. And he said that young Nick has got all three pitches. He's a great learner, said Rich. He's really eager to soak up the knowledge. And he's got some pace, Joe Todd, some good zip. You all set there?
Pretty well.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Glad you're back.
Well, you had a great interview.
Oh, I love talking to Dr. Bob. There's a little bleeder on the infield. Got to come get it. In a hurry is the shortstop, and they get him over at first base. Peyton Hall had a long way to come to pick up that little dribbler, but a good, strong throw. They get Peyton Hall. They strand two, and the Senators will come back up to the plate in the top of the second. Scoreless through one. Thanks for being with us here on the ISC Network. We started real early if you're just getting in. We just finished the first inning. And Rio Grande Senators will come back up in the second. Stay with us. We'll get you caught up.
The New York Gremlins congratulate our own Dr. Bob Nidek on his induction to the ISC Hall of Fame as this year's recipient of the Bob Welby Memorial Recognition of Service Award. Dr. Bob is a four-time ISC World Champ, winning his first two titles with the Kitchener River Shark Twins in 2008 and 2009. His second two came with us in 2018 and 2019, and he says, we're not done. Bob started in the game when he was 17 in Pennsylvania and played in a national championship in 1996. His first ISC World Tournament was 2004 in Fargo, North Dakota. Since 2012, he's been a Gremlins co-sponsor, and we couldn't be prouder of him to be recognized for all of his contributions to the game.
Congratulations, Dr. Bob. Left fielder Travis Havens leading things off for the Rio Grande Senators. Travis will be followed by Brady Parker and Matthew Kutnikoff. A couple of good young players with Brady Parker and Matthew Kutnikoff. Matthew was on the Canada U23 team. Had a tough tournament down in Paternois, but frankly, so did just about everybody on the Canadian team when it came to the bats, Joe. That was not the best showing in terms of the offensive prowess of that team.
True story.
Chases upstairs. Havens down on strikes.
left fielder, number 24, Travis Havens.
So I apologize. That was Andrew Kutnikoff. That was just down on strikes. This is Travis Havens. He swings and misses, and Josh Pettit is throwing peas right now, Joe.
Yes, got a lot of pepper in there.
Pepper on the peas.
Just have to make it a little hotter.
Swing and a miss, right on through. Travis Havens can't catch up to that pitch from Josh Pettit. You'll see it here. Just blows this right by him. Rise ball, a little late rise ball, and right on by him. So this is Brady Parker at the plate, the son of Senators skipper Dave Parker. And took something off that, did Pettit. 0-2. But what I was starting to say, Joe, was some of the good young ball players with Brady and Matthew Kutnikoff and some others. And then you've got a mix of some veterans. There's called strike three. We'll have to come back to that story as Josh Pettit makes short work here of the middle of the order. He's got 5 strikeouts now in a row. And Pettit looks real good early here for the KEGEL Black Knights. How confident are you in your organization's security posture? If your answer isn't 100%, you're not alone. Most organizations aren't doing enough to protect their data, and they know it. With Armitage technology, you can stop worrying about IT security issues so you can focus on moving your business forward. Our experienced staff monitor and maintain your IT infrastructure to keep your business running. Visit us at armitagetech.com and make your technology work for your business.
For the best Bear Tent banter on the airwaves, listen to Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly. Here's some of the biggest stars chatting with 2 of Newfoundland's own, Jason Hill and Steve Mullally. It's unfiltered and uncensored. Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly, wherever you get your podcasts. Yes, bye.
Joe, Preston Sherman's going to lead things off for the KEGEL Black Knights, the 6th batter in the order for the Knights. Catch up on some out-of-town scores. Earlier today, RM Kurtz with the first real big upset of the tournament. 3-1 winners over JB, knocking the 6th seed into the losers bracket. Hill United Chiefs, 11-0 winners over the Grand Valley Expos. Toronto Batmen, 7-0 over Marchio Sausage. Oma Tigre are leading Pueblo Bandits 3-1. That's in the bottom of the 6th inning. AWP Lumberjacks, 12-2 winners over the Midland Explorers. Ostrander Norseman recovered from yesterday's loss to the Waterdown Hammer by taking out all their frustrations on the Alvinston Aces with a 13-0 win. Whew. And we've got the Rio Grande Senators and KEGEL Black Knights right now. New York Gremlins, 8-0 winners over the Northwest Braves. We just finished that game on the ISC network. Grand Valley will take on Georgian Bay in about 15 minutes. So that's one of the games that's been brought forward from tomorrow due to the rain. If you haven't been with us earlier in the day, we've brought forward 7 games from Monday onto tonight's schedule. We're scheduled for rain all day tomorrow, and we're worried about tomorrow's one of the busiest days in the tournament, and we're worried about where we're going to be able to play all those games. So we bring forward 7 to tonight because we have the diamond availability. One of those is Grand Valley. They're going to take on Georgian Bay. Also tonight, we'll see the Notre Dame clubs play the New Zealand Black Sox. Marchio Sausage will take on the Kingston Axemen. Lacey A's and Pegasus Redmond will get together in a 10 o'clock matchup. Stoneyard and the Northwest Braves will match up at 10 o'clock. And then, Joe, believe it or not, at midnight tonight, scheduled start time, Hill United Chiefs and Wander Springs Chippers here on this diamond at Circle Tap. There's a multi-hopper out to Andrew Kutnikoff at second base. He'll turn and flip to Brady Parker for the out. Preston Sherman
Catcher number 14.
out on the ground out. We're hoping that we can get play underway by midday tomorrow.
That would be a good plan.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But those 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. games tomorrow all pulled forward to tonight. And I want to give full credit to Rich Haldane and crew for having the foresight to work on that schedule and to make that happen. Also involved was Darren Derricks, the head of the host committee. That one is inside. There's a car out in dead center field, and the lights are shining right in. It looks like they're backing out now, but it was the four-wheeler out there picking up fans is what it was, but it had a headlight shining right into the field. There's a chopper by Mike Hoadley, barehanded by the third baseman, and it handcuffs Brady Parker over there at first. Mike Hoadley, the veteran, making a return. I haven't seen Mike in a couple of years. At least a couple of years. I want to say like 5.
4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah. But there you see Mike Hoadley from the Boston, New England area. And good to see Mike back in the game. He's aboard. Are you going base hit or error on that? That was going to be a tough play. There's a beautiful bunt there by Dries. Center fielder Mike Dries drops down a beauty, Joe Todd. You've got to really like that when you're bunting for a base hit.
Well executed. Kept it low on the ground.
So new player to the Kegel Black Knights, Mike Dries, and making impact. Dante Biagini, second generation player. Ray Biagini, who's been in Legends for at least 5 or 6 years, and he's up there bunting. Biagini last year was, if you remember, with the Midland Explorers and put on a show playing defense in one of the early round games against, if I remember right, the Ohio Bombers. But it was real pretty to watch, and he's played some tournaments with the New York Gremlins a couple of times in recent years too. There's a high hopper, but that's going to be foul.
He plays great defense, has great range, good wheels, great arm.
And that one's chopped foul as well. Biagini is the 9-man in the order for the Black Knights. Back to the top of the shop, it'll be Zach Shaw when they get there. Out to short, they flip to second for 1. They get the middle runner. That erases Mike Dries. So Hoadley is up to third base. Biagini out at first on the fielder's choice. Shaw grounded out to Andrew Kutnikoff at second, leading off the game while we were talking to Bob Neidick. If you're just getting in with us, it's 7:58 local time here in Denmark, Wisconsin, as that pitch is way up and in from the youngster Nick Need. Biagini scoots up to second base. No opportunity for Mike Hoadley to advance. It's a real short screen. It's only, Joe, 7 or 8 feet in behind the catcher to the screen.
Screen is very tight, though. And you get some great bounces off that screen. Imagine a few of the catchers love that screen.
Well, yeah, it's a trampoline bounce off the screen. We're getting the umpires together here. I don't know what is...
Well, I think they're trying to see if he swung or not.
That's a good question. Doc Landerman is down from first base and is checking in with our home plate umpire, Joe. Blue Crew.
Kind of the United Nations trip tonight. Jan Hoare from the Chechia Association, David Fortin from New Zealand, and Dallas Applebacker from Minnesota. So three different countries involved in the umpiring Blue Crew tonight.
Well, we talked about that in the Gremlins game about it's not just the players that are international, it's the exchange program, and we're bringing in umpires from around the world. Doc Landerman is getting his money's worth here. Doesn't look like a real vocal argument, but he's got the arms out. He's making his case.
He's going to get down and ask, but they've already talked.
I guess they're calling Zach Shaw as having gone around to that. It looked like he had the bat on the shoulder, but when he ducked out of the way, the bat came through the zone. And you can't really say that he didn't swing when the bat does go through the zone. You do see that call. It's not a rarity. It happens more often than you would think. You see some of the crowd that's here at Circle Tap. So 0-2 on Zach Shaw. This one misses downstairs. And Nick Need is a fully developed 18-year-old, Joe Todd.
Yeah.
He is a man's size out there. He's not a skinny 18-year-old kid, that's for sure.
No, very stocky.
In a good way.
Yes.
That one misses downstairs. So, worked the walk, did Zach Shaw.
Right fielder, number 82.
Dustin Houts with the bases loaded and 2 out. That one's inside to Houts, up and in. Dustin Houts from eastern Pennsylvania makes the commute out to the Midwest when he plays with Fargo in their local tournaments.
Florida Panther fan.
Oh, he's got some weird sports affiliations. Don't even go there. At least he's not a Philly fan. I'll give him that. That's his probably closest local metro. There's some of the Gremlins, Brian Avery, Matty Waugh. They stay around to watch some of their pals on the Kegel Black Knights. Bleeder on the infield, and that is in and out of the glove of the shortstop, Peyton Hall. Here's the throw, the play at the plate, in safely. Dante Biagini dives in and scores the second run of the game. Tough play for Peyton Hall. He had to move over to his left. It hit him in the glove and bounced out, and then it just stuck there on the dirt. You'll see it here on the replay. Houts back up the middle.
Number 7, Mike Lewis.
And there's the play at the plate, diving in safe. Great slide from Dante Biagini. Good aggressive base running, too, from the Fargo coaching staff.
Just a couple of C&I singles here.
Mike Lewis, designated player to the plate. You went with error again. You're a harsh scorekeeper, Joe Todd.
Well,
I don't disagree, but you're
yeah,
harsh.
I am. Yes, I am. There's no Annie Oakleys on my team.
This one is straight back and just falls in behind us. It's a tough chance. We'll give that to Peyton Hall. It's a tough chance, but it's also a play that you got to make there to get your pitcher out of the inning. You get a ground ball with the bases loaded and 2 out. You'd like to see that play made. Good changeup there by Nick Need to end the inning. Kegel Black Knights scored 2. They take a 2-0 lead through 2 complete. We'll come back to the top of the third. Rio Grande Senators coming back up to the plate. So Matthew Kutnikoff, the designated player to the plate for the Rio Grande Senators. Matthew from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, is that right?
It's Saskatchewan. I'm not sure what town. I'm guessing Prince Albert because that's the hotbed of other than Saskatoon.
Yeah, I think he is Prince Albert. We'll double check on that. But Matthew being on the Canadian U23 team and doing that event. Called strike in the inside corner. Josh Pettit has got, 5 strikeouts through the first 2 innings. Ground ball by Ryan Old was the only one not by way of the strikeout. And Kutnikoff chases way upstairs for strike 3. Make that 6 in a row now for Josh Pettit.
Third baseman.
I know that rise ball looks good, but you got to lay off that ball.
Matt Thornton to the plate. He and Peyton Hall spent a bit of time with the Topeka Toros several years back in ISC play. Well, he's got that rise ball moving right now, and I'm sure it looks pretty tantalizing coming in, but they are waving at it. There you see some of the Northwest Braves in and amongst the over near the Senators' first base bench. And there's a good drop. Oh, boy, that just fell off the table, Joe, from Pettit.
A great mix there. Surprised a couple of people there on those rise balls, and then comes back with that great drop ball. Now he's got the batter thinking. Tried to challenge him with that rise ball again. Pettit's on a roll here now. 6 strikeouts in a row. 0-2 on the batter.
And swing and a miss. Make that 7. Pettit, indeed, on a roll.
Catcher.
Darren Coster is the catcher for the Rio Grande Senators. Darren from the BC works with Nick Need, so it's nice to have a pitcher and catcher come down from the same place. They can travel together and talk shop.
Yes. Probably roomies.
Cut there by Coster, but comes up empty. And Joe, you and I were looking at the Softball Canada website the other day. No roster yet named for the 18 under event coming up. But if Nick Need indeed just turned 18, he'll be somebody that Canada's got to be considering, given the way that he looks like he's pitching here the last couple of weeks. But Josh Pettit has definitely got it going on right now. 8 strikeouts in a row, 8 of 9 outs via the K. And that 2-0 lead for KENGEL looks pretty safe in his hands right now. They'll come to the plate in the bottom of the third. Stay with us here on the ISC Network.
Whether you want to improve your grip in wet conditions or just to find the control you've been looking for, the Gorilla Gold Grip Enhancer has become the most recommended name in softball and in every sport where grip plays an important role. Gorilla Gold is the only grip enhancement approved by the ISC, ASA, and NCAA.
Hello, my name is Michael Holobradek. I'm from Czech Republic, playing for Hill United Chiefs, and I'm using Gorilla Gold.
My name is Pablo Miguelvaca from Argentina, and for every game I use Gorilla Gold.
Hola, mi nombre es Samuel Villalbazo, pitcher de la Selección de México, y en todos mis juegos uso Gorilla Grip.
Hi, I'm Adam Folkard, I play for the Hill United Chiefs from Australia, and I've been using Gorilla Gold my whole life.
My name's Jack Vesco from Australia, and I can't pitch without Gorilla Gold.
Gorilla Gold, the feel for the game.
Jeff Lewis, number 1, the first baseman for KENGEL Black Knights, to lead things off. The 4-batter for the team from Fargo, North Dakota. And that will be a first pitch base hit for Jeff Lewis, his second time aboard. Just that high hopper in the 3.5 hole between first and second. That'll bring up Dan Mitchell.
Third baseman, number 77, Dan Mitchell.
Foul tip into the glove.
Pretty impressed with the composure of the pitcher there, Nick Ned. For being just 18 and facing...
Well, this one is back to the fence, and that's going to get over the head of Ryan Old out there. Here's a strong throw into the plate, and they've got... Oh, I thought they were going to get him hung up there. Dan Mitchell will get the hair back under the helmet. And just strayed a little bit too far.
Got a little too much of the plate there.
Yeah. Nick Need, that one comes down, and Ryan Old didn't pick it up very well, I don't think, Joe, off the bat. It's a little dark out there in right field, and maybe he didn't see it.
That's kind of just in between times, too. It's really not totally dark, and it's more the dusk or just past dusk.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not full dark. Preston Sherman at the plate. This is a good young prospect from the eastern U.S. I know the Team U.S. brass got a number of young players that they're considering in the mix, as they're going to have some turnover. Guys like Palazzo and some others will be aging out, perhaps not this cycle, but likely after the next one. Or for the next one, I should say.
Pitcher and catcher trying to make sure they're both on the same song sheet.
Need gets Sherman swinging at the rise ball. I really like the movement that I see in the pitches with Nick Need. He doesn't just throw it down the middle. He's got movement. That one was a rise ball on the outside corner. Mike Hoadley to the dish. And that's a good location pitch, too. Inside drop.
Well, you want to tie up Hoadley's hands here. Want to make sure he can't use that good upper body strength.
Just misses off that inside corner. You know, a lot of guys, Joe, will nibble away, outside, but he's willing to come in, too.
That's got to be part of his arsenal here at this men's level.
And blows that one right by Hoadley. Good inside rise ball. Got popped as it got to the plate.
But he's keeping that rise in a low part of the strike zone. It's a pretty tough pitch to throw, but pretty accurate with it.
And that one misses downstairs. So full count to Hoadley, 3-2. Two runners aboard. Need to almost get a strikeout here, Joe, to give the defense a chance to then get back. And he gets it indeed. Gets Hoadley to chase the rise ball up. So we saw kind of a low rise, and then we get the high rise up and out of the strike zone for strike 3. I like the sequence that he and Costa are working right now. Nick Need showing a little bit of savvy beyond his barely 18 years. Misses downstairs. Mike Dries dropped a beautiful bunt to get aboard with a single. That was an inning ago. And that one fouled off over the screen on a hop. Mike Dries from Illinois. One hopper over to third base. Matt Thornton will make the flip, and they'll escape that two-base runner jam. Keep the score 2-0 in favor of the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. We'll go to the top of the 4th. Senators need to scratch one out to get back into it.
2-0. Right fielder, number 21, Ryan Old.
Back to the top of the shop for the Rio Grande Senators. Ryan Old, Will Sandifer, and Peyton Hall. 1, 2, 3 in the Senators' order. We'll see if they have any more or any luck against the hard-throwing right-hander Josh Pettit from Wellington, New Zealand, suited up for the Knights. Called strike on the inside corner. KENGEL finished a team best 4th at the 2021 ISC World Tournament. Nice addition with Josh Pettit. He's got some big game experience, pitched in the last 2 ISC World Tournament Championship games with the New York Gremlins. And Jack Besgrove coming over to the Gremlins. There was opportunity for Josh Pettit to head out and be a starter on a team like Fargo rather than just get mop-up innings with the Gremlins. And a good choice, I think. You need guys like Josh Pettit with the skill set that he's got, pitching more, not less.
Well experienced out there.
There's a called strike. And actually, we were speaking of the Topeka Toros a little bit earlier. Josh Pettit came up with the Topeka Toros about at least 10 years ago. I remember playing against Josh with Lake Simcoe Lightning back in 2013, so that's at least 10 years ago. 2 hopper on the infield. Zach Shaw will come get that and flip to first for the out.
Great charge there by Shaw. Can't sit on your heels on that play.
Yeah, had to absolutely come get that. Ryan Old, the only guy who's been able to put the ball in play for the Senators. Pair of groundouts to second base. Everybody else, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout by what I see in the book. Swings underneath the rise ball. Will Sandifer. Called strike 3, inside corner. Sandifer wants to have a quick chat with Jan Hora.
Shortstop.
You know who's going to win that conversation?
Yes. The gentleman in the blue shirt.
Mm-hmm. Big cut, comes up empty. Peyton Hall, shortstop for the Senators. Wearing number 0. You don't often see a single 0, do you? You see the double zeros. Not often do you get a single 0. And again, chases upstairs. I'm Josh Pettit. I'm going a little higher and a little harder here.
Sure, climb the ladder.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Peyton Hall. Fouled off. Left that one kind of chest level, maybe the letters.
Yeah. He just missed that one.
And this one is lifted out to left field, ranging across over near the fence, but that's going to fall on the opposite side. Preston Sherman gave it a good chase. We'll get the ball back in play. Pettit has got one that he likes. We'll reset. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Peyton Hall at the plate. And fouled straight back into the screen. He's not far off of it, Joe.
No, they're very close. They're getting their timings down. Second time through the order now.
And there's a little pop-up on the infield. Zach Shaw will gather it in for the 3rd out of the inning. He and Josh Pettit are the only guys seeing any action out there. It's like the king in his court right now. You don't need anybody else. They've got that 2-0 lead going on. They'll come to the plate in the home half of the 4th. Kegel Black Knights ahead by 2.
Catcher, inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. I know we have a long way to go, but I'm proud to say as long as our people have a need, Dreamcatcher will be there for them.
Leading off the Kegel Force, shortstop, number 22,
Dante Biagini will lead off for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. The 9 batter, and then back to the top of the shop, Zach Shaw, Dustin Houts. I love a guy with a dirty uniform here like that, Joe Todd. He is in the game. You know that just from looking at him. Dante Biagini. A couple of head first slides. Senators bullpen has got some action going on. Tony Mancha throwing down there in the right field line. Upstairs from Nick Need. Tony Mancha, veteran of the USA program. For the long time, he was one of the lone arms for Team USA. Biagini aboard with a leadoff walk to the 9 guy. That's a mistake you don't really want to make.
second baseman, number 9.
No, just throwing too many pitches right here in this stage of the game.
Called strike on Zach Shaw. Ground out in a walk. So that skips away from Coster, and up to second base goes Dante Biagini, up in scoring position. And we know he's got wheels to burn, Joe, so anything out on the grass, and you're going to see him flying around third base.
Even if he thinks it might be close. He wants to go. He's a jackrabbit.
And that's going to score him, I would think, as that bounds out to right field. He scores standing up. Give Shaw an RBI single. And that wild pitch, if you will, cost them the extra run. And you just see that get past Brady Parker at first. No real chance for Parker on that.
You just can't make those type of small mental mistakes. They come back to haunt you at this level.
So meeting out on the mound, Dave Parker out to have a chat with his young pitcher. I'm going to leave him in there for now. Mancha continues to throw, and there's also number 7. Somebody needs a handwriting course.
Mr. Parker.
Tobin Bayo, is that?
That's what I would. Tobar?
Tobin. I'm going to go Tobin. Tobin Barrow? Bayo?
Bayo.
I'll try the... Well, we'll give you the play-by-play here. As that is lined down to left field by Dustin Houts. Around comes Zach Shaw to score. Houts ends up on second base. Let's pick it up on the replay here as we were trying to decipher the handwriting. And just lace down the left side. And Houts speeds into second base with a double. Mike Lewis now to the dish, and it's 4-0 for the KEGEL Black Knights. And good cut there by Lewis. Third time through, Joe, and it gets a little tough, a little tougher.
Mike Lewis is one of the coaches in the university program.
You are correct, sir.
On the East Coast, I believe. Somewhere in the Virginia area.
Virginia, yeah, and I think they just hired Huimamata as a pitching coach there, too. Virginia Tech, I want to say. Believe it or not, Joe, that is Edgar.
Edgar. Oh, that's close.
Edgar Barrow. From Mexico. And the Kutnikovs are from Saskatoon. That one was fouled out of play.
A couple of years ago, probably, no, more than a couple of years ago, I can remember Mike Lewis is one of the recipients of the CFF scholarship awards.
Yes, you're right.
That the ISC hand out. Actually, back-to-back years, I believe. Jeff Lewis now at the plate. KEGEL Black Knights have picked up a couple runs so far this inning. Another run sitting in scoring position. Dustin Houts out at second base.
That one looked like it handcuffed Costner behind the dish. Not sure if it was the exact pitch he was expecting or not. And this one well hit deep right field. Forget about it. That's going to disappear into the night sky. Jeff Lewis bombs one out. Wow, Joe, that got out of here in a hurry. It might have just landed a second ago. Look at this. Way out of here. Oh.
That ball cleared the tent and cleared the bleachers.
Cleared the county.
Halfway to Denmark.
Nick Need will exit stage right. Had a good couple of innings there, but just can't hold down this Fargo team the third time through. And Joe, you wonder if maybe that pitching change should have been made by the coaching staff a couple of batters earlier.
Yeah,
the third time
after
through.
that walk even.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I think they could have got him out a little bit quicker.
For the Senators, number 7.
Yeah, he's looking at it too. He's like, what does that say? We're off, right?
Yeah.
Or we are?
I think so.
Third baseman, number 77, Dan Mitchell.
Yeah, Dan Mitchell to the plate. I guess we were on there, Joe.
Oh.
Good thing you didn't say anything bad about me for a change. Dan Mitchell laces this one to the gap. He greets Edgar Barrow with a first pitch, swinging in a line out to left field. And playing over towards the gap was Travis Havens. So good positioning there. Preston Sherman now to the dish.
Sherman looking for his first hit of the night. Grounded out back in the second inning and struck out in the third. Back up again in the fourth.
Preston and his brother Jordan from Michigan. First got the opportunity to see these guys about a year and a half ago in Florida at that USA Winter Classic tournament down in Fort Myers. Luciano and I did that a couple of years ago. Comes up empty there. That's a good pitch from Edgar Barrow from Hermosillo, Mexico. Tall, skinny guy, Joe. If he turns sideways, we might not see him.
Yeah.
Well, a bunch of the Senators thought that was strike 3. They were headed off the field. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And that one's fouled off at the plate.
Something that was mentioned to me when we were in one of our meetings, that there's probably over 30 Mexicans playing now in the ISC tournament that are registered this year.
Outstanding to see. The Mexican national team has been on the rise. And that pitch just misses down low. So a 2-out walk to Preston Sherman gets him aboard, and that'll bring up Mike Hoadley. And we're going to get a pinch hitter. That's Jordan Sherman. So Preston's, I believe they're twins, twin brother, coming to the plate. And in with a strike is Barrow. Preston Sherman out at first, has some good wheels. This one fouled off into the screen. And there's a little flare that's going to get through the 3.5 hole. And going coast to coast is Preston Sherman, and twin brother Jordan aboard with a pinch hit base hit.
Just fought it off.
Center fielder, number 57.
Jammed him on his hands, but had enough strength to drive it out to right field.
Mike Dries, center fielder, to the dish. And this guy's got wheels too. There's a called strike. So Barrow gets ahead. See if he can close the door here. That run at third is the potential mercy rule run, or the run rule run. Kegel up 6 here in the bottom of the 4th. And that is a bleeder off his foot and dead ball foul. Oh, 2 on Mike Dries. And just misses upstairs. Chopper in the infield, toss to second. They get the out. Peyton Hall flips to Andrew Kutnikoff for the out. We'll go to top of 5. Kegel push across 4. They now lead 6-0.
This business was opened in 1965 by my father, Ned Matiosi. Could have walked in here 25, 30 years ago and seen just about the same thing. The process of making this suit takes about 6 weeks. It goes through about 12 or 13 hands as it's moved along the line. It's an old-time place. Making stuff from scratch here in the city at a reasonable cost. It's a very personal type of business.
Cleanup batter Andrew Kutnikoff, then Travis Havens and Brady Parker for the Rio Grande Senators. 4-5-6. As the team from Texas trying to get on track against Josh Pettit.
Pettit's been in full command though tonight.
He has been dominating. 9 strikeouts through 4 innings, and that one is laced foul. Hard hit, but well foul. Pettit with a little motion there towards the eyes, and I'm not sure if he and Hoadley were on the exact same page with that pitch. And a guy that throws as hard as Josh Pettit, you want to make sure you know what's coming if you're behind the dish.
Yeah.
You don't want any surprises. Another strikeout for Josh Pettit, making an even 10 on the evening as Josh continues to mow. Mike Hoadley out to have his defensive conference, and being told that that is their lone defensive conference that they can have in the inning. That's one of the new rules that were adopted by the ISC for this year. Defensive delay is the rule, Joe. You're permitted one of those conferences per inning, and the idea is to keep the game moving and avoid the unnecessary defensive conferences and meetings between players on the mound. And it's not just the catcher. It could be the infielders. It could be the outfielders if they really were aggressive about it.
Just to speed up the pace of the game.
That's right, absolutely, and full in favor of that one. Fouled straight back into the screen. Travis Havens at the plate.
I got a chance. I'm going to say a shout out to Gary Bugsy Pullen and the family up at the cottage. Got the laptop out and watching the game. Thank you. Shout out to them.
Great to hear. Thanks for joining us. Pettit misses downstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Change of speed. Haven't seen that too much from Josh, but he's pulled that one out and picks up another strikeout with the changeup. That's just about unfair.
Well, when you can throw that pitch in after throwing the quantity of pitches he's throwing and never shown it, it's great to have that in your back pocket.
Brady Parker at the dish. Hopper on the infield. Pettit will go get it and turn and flip to first. Save Zach Shaw from having to come get it. It's always good when your pitcher can field his position that effectively. You see Pettit go get it in front of Shaw.
Great.
Easy flip to first. That's some good defense there.
Great play. Good range to get off the mound.
Dante Biagini, who has been in the middle of it today, Joe. Reached and scored both times around. And this one is slapped down the left side and turning first. Big turn. And now we'll get back to first base and aboard for the third time tonight.
Number 9, Zach Shaw.
Reached on an error, walked. Both times come around to score.
It's great when your number 9 batter can contribute like that.
Well, it's like having an extra leadoff batter because now we're back to the top of the shop with Zach Shaw, and you got a speedy guy out there on base already. And this one is laced out to left, deep left, and it's off the fence. They're going to give the wave. Here comes Dante Biagini, and that will be enough for the ball game as the Fargo-Kegel Black Knights will walk off the Rio Grande Senators 7-0 on that run-scoring double, I guess it'll be. Dante Biagini races all the way around from first, and they'll take the ball game 7-0. Some good display of power there. That is a perfect game by Josh Pettit, a 5-inning perfect game. No runs, no hits, no hitter.
No hitter.
It's not a perfect game. Did they get a base runner? They didn't get a base
They
runner.
didn't get out. No, they did not. Perfect game.
So
and
perfect game.
And no hitter. Yep.
Wow.
Perfect. Obviously.
Perfect game. Perfect
Yeah.
game. Congratulations. That's his second no-hitter in the ISC. Threw one a couple of years ago as well. So congratulations to Josh Pettit. A perfect game and a 7-0 win for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. It doesn't get much better from that perspective in terms of a start. Joe, that's our last game of the night. There's going to be a couple more ball games coming up here at Circle Tap. We brought you 4 of the good games today. We are going to shut down and we'll get reset for whatever action there may be tomorrow. Watch the website, watch social media for updates. If you do want to follow the ongoing games that are going to go on now for another cycle and a half, you can follow it on Game Changer on the ISC website at iscfastpitch.com. For Joe Todd, for Luciano Lafrano, for Carol Dureste, that's our 4 games. We want to thank Dean Kane and Bob Neidick and congratulate them. Thank them for joining us here in the broadcast booth. It's been our pleasure to bring you these 4 games today. Again, we'll encourage you to stay up to date with Game Changer for the couple of games that are coming up. We've pulled forward those games due to the weather forecast for tomorrow. We want to get as many games done tonight, and then we'll take advantage of whatever playing time we might get tomorrow to try and keep the tournament on schedule as much as possible. Again, watch the website, watch social media for all of the updates. Signing off, Blair Setford, thanks for being with us all day, and have a great night.
Good night.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now.